Yeah, 'cause
I just wanna make sure, wanna make sure I'm in the right place.
Do you have many new people having shots tomorrow?
I'm sorry?
Do you have many new people getting shots tomorrow?
New people?
Uh-huh.
We have 180 people from the first time. And then we have, I think we got about 40 new ones.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we should cross 40, we should cross 70%.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Michael Shaw here at the live chat here on February 3rd at 3 o'clock. If you are residents and team members listening today, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are listening to us tonight via the video that's uploaded to Touchdown, we truly appreciate your time, your gift of time in hearing some information about Cedarfield. This is a big week for Cedarfield as we are on the last lap. Those of you that follow NASCAR, we are on the last lap of the vaccine distribution. We are waving the checkered flag not to suggest that the pandemic is over, but we are waving the checkered flag on the vaccine distribution. This is a big week for Cedarfield, as we have our second date for our first clinic, which means our team members this week and our health center residents will receive their second dose. So we are so excited about it, about tomorrow. There are over 250 people who will be receiving their second vaccine tomorrow, and there is approximately 40 people tomorrow that will be receiving their first dose of the vaccine. So we have helped educate many team members with converting from a no and or a maybe to a yes, and that count equals about 40 people. So for tomorrow, we are anticipating close to 300 people getting a vaccine tomorrow. It's a big day in the life of Cedarfield. You'll see these checkered decorations throughout the fellowship hall. We're having another a clinic set up in the dining room for folks that work in dining services, and then those that work and or live in the health center. Our north, central, and south neighborhoods are going to receive their vaccine in the great room. So you're going to see all these black and white decorations around the community. So just to continue on our live chat here, the format today is very simple. I have a little bit more of a dashboard to share with people. I want to talk a little bit about the vaccine distribution. Thirdly, our evolving preparedness plans, especially around dining services. After that, we have a little 15-minute presentation from our friends at Dispatch Health. And then a little word about the Angel Fund. And then after that, we'll round it out with some words of good news from our pastoral services team. First, just the 7-day positivity rates within the region. Really, things have not moved that dramatically since Monday with those 7-day positivity rates. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, we still stand at double digits at 11.5%. Central Virginia is right around 15%. Henrico County is right in and around 10%. Richmond still rests right around 8%, and Chesterfield is right around 12%. Again, those 5 different metrics, 4 of them are still in double digits, which gives the Virginia Department of Health reason for wanting us to continue to relay that information, because it's a pretty important metric and people should know about. Here locally at Cedarfield, in our north household, that dashboard is red at this point. We have 4 residents that continue to be positive, and we have 1 team member that is positive. Other than that, we don't have any pending tests. No one is under isolation or quarantine in the north household. In the central household, we have 2 residents that are positive. They will cycle off next Monday. We have 1 resident that is under isolation, and we have 2 team members that are positive. In the South household, we have 1 resident that is positive. We have 1 resident that is under a 14-day quarantine, and then we have 3 team members that are positive in that household. So all of that data suggests that we still need to continue. We need to continue to keep our north, central, and south neighborhood dashboard as red. In assisted living, it's a little bit different of a story in assisted living. We have 0 positive cases of COVID-19. We only have 1 resident that's under isolation due to moving through the continuum of care. And we have 0 team members that are positive. And there are no tests pending in assisted living. In our memory support area, again, good news, the dashboard is green. We have 0 positive cases in memory support. We don't have any resident that is under isolation or quarantine. And there are 0 team members that are positive. There are no tests pending in Sunshine Plaza. In independent living, some more good news with our green dashboard for residents that live in the cottages, whether it's the court or the lane, the dashboard is green. For residents that live in the main building, the dashboard is also green. There are no residents that have COVID-19, there are no tests that are pending, and there are no residents that are under isolation or quarantine. In our housekeeping department, I have good news. We have 0 new cases over the last 2 weeks, so that's just great news. We do have 2 team members that are still out from the outbreak that we experienced in the beginning of January. Those 2 team members are trying to cycle off of their occurrence, so we continue to send thoughts and prayers their way. Excuse me. In dining services, we have some indifferent news. Last time we reported, we had 13 team members that were either positive or had an in-home exposure. As of yesterday, 9 of those team members cycled off of their 14-day quarantine. So that was great news. 9 team members cycled off of their quarantine. When we have an outbreak like this, we conduct weekly testing in departments that have an outbreak until we are 14 days free of any positive cases. So we conducted one of those tests broadly across all of dining services on Monday. That test netted another 5 positives. So the good news, my message here is that 9-10 team members cycled off. The indifferent news is that we captured 5 more positives. But for me, listening to all the epidemiologists and the experts, the opinion and the education I've received around testing, the good news in that is that we titrated down in our in the number of people who became positive. So we want to see, it's highly unlikely when you have an outbreak that you're immediately going to go to 0. We hope and pray that that happens, but more of the cases you start to see it cycle off over 50% reduction over the weeks to come. So that's what we saw on Monday. So we have all that to say is we have 7 positive cases in dining services, and we have 1 team member who is at home due to an in-home exposure. More to come about our evolving preparedness plans about dining in a couple of minutes. Our resident services area, lifestyles and wellness, the dashboard is green. In marketing, we have 1 in-home exposure. That person is at home. Pastoral services, the dashboard is green. Maintenance, the dashboard is green. Administration, the dashboard is green. and Human Resources and the Business Office, the dashboard is green. So as a summary of all of that Cedar Field dashboard, we have 7 positive cases with residents. We have 12 positive cases with team members, and we have 4 team members who are what we consider isolation because of an in-home exposure. We have 0 residents that have any COVID cases in the cottages. We have 0 cases in the main building, and we have 0 resident cases in assisted living and memory support. In terms of COVID-19 education, I just wanted to share some information that I have been gathering, listening to my own methods, as well as being a part of many conference calls here in the last 2 weeks. If there's any news that you need to hear about the second dose, we hear a lot of information out there about the second dose. And the question generally comes up, is the second dose harder than the first one? Do we experience more symptoms and signs than the first dose? Because the worry is that more people are going to get sick after that second dose. And the message here is we want every resident and team member to remember that we have the Pfizer vaccine. We are not mixing Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson is not coming to Cedar Field. Let's squash that rumor. We're not mixing vaccines here in the next 2 weeks. We have the Pfizer vaccine. There was a study published also in the New England Journal of Medicine not too recently that found that 12 days after the first shot, the majority of people are about 55% protected. So that's all great news. Participants then get their second shot, so whether the 52 to 55% effectiveness would be worn away if they didn't get the second dose. That's what a lot of the questions that are coming into Cedar Field management pertain to. What we do know is that in order to be 95% effective in your body, you do need that second shot. The longer you wait to get that second shot, we can wait a little bit more than 21 days, but if you don't get that second dose, you will not be 95% effective of COVID-19. You have to get that second dose. That is just a really critical step. By definition, that means that 95 out of 100 people fully vaccinated with both doses of the vaccine. It doesn't suggest that you're not going to get sick. It does suggest that when people get this second vaccine, that we do run into very common occurrences of either a sore arm, a fever, and or chills, and that is because the vaccine is actually working within our body. Our body is reacting to the vaccine. And if we get a little sick over the next 24 to 48 hours after we get the second vaccine, that's actually good news. We don't want anyone to get sick, but the fact that people are experiencing symptoms is okay. It means your body is reacting to it, and that's a good thing. The second thing about the second dose is we're hearing a lot of information where we're being asked to talk about the variants that are happening around the world. What exactly does this vaccine protect us against with the variants? And when I mean the variants, I've done a lot of research and I've connected with our epidemiologists in the Henrico County area. The main variants are as follows. There is one from the United Kingdom called the B.1 variant. There's the Brazil variant known as the P.1 variant. And then there's the South African variant known as the B.1.3 variant. And all three of these variants are indeed found in the United States. These variants are more infectious than the original strain, and researchers, particularly the researchers in the United Kingdom, have been doing a lot of research on not only the variant within their country, but the other two variants I just mentioned. The scientists' concerns at this moment of time are more of the P1 variant, which is the variant that actually stems from Brazil. It's a less talked about variant. Even when I'm watching the news with my wife at night, we often hear about the United Kingdom and the South African variant. But all of these variants, there's a worry that the cluster of these mutations are spreading so quickly that the concern is, does the vaccine really help with these particular variants? And what I have gathered through my own research and listening to experts calling into the office 2-3 times a day here over the last 2 weeks is that the early investigations are strongly suggesting that the current vaccine that was produced by Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, even though that's not widely known yet about the J&J vaccine, that the vaccines do prevent the majority of the mild and moderate cases, and the data that has been gathered thus far suggests that the vaccines are very effective towards these variants. The Virginia Department of Health officials have suggested to me that even against very severe cases, hospitalizations, and preventing the unfortunate deaths that this pandemic is causing. So the news is that all the research that we're gathering in the medical field is suggesting that these vaccines are helping greatly against these variants. It's not that our bodies are just immune to these variants at all. So get the second dose. Tomorrow we have our second clinic for team members in the health center. We are anticipating, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, 300 people to get the vaccine, which we are very excited about. Those team members that are listening right now and or listening to this video tonight, there are about 40 of new team members that are receiving the vaccine for the first time tomorrow. You will be in the running for a free day off, a free 8 hours of PAL time. We ran this incentive on the first clinic a couple of weeks ago. And so of the people who come to either one of our 3 locations tomorrow, your name will be placed in a hat, and we will draw a winner for a free 8 hours of vacation time. This is a friendly reminder to the residents that are listening tonight or today that next Friday is our second vaccine day, which we intend to wave again the checkered flag, rounding the last lap here of the vaccine. We're very excited to provide over 500 people the vaccine next Friday. As of today, if you are one of those residents that received the vaccine on the 22nd, your body is likely to produce about a 40 to 45% effective rate today. So that's great news. We are 50% protected. It's hard to believe that we started these conversations almost 12 months ago, but we have great news now. We're waving the checkered flag, not to suggest the pandemic is over, but we are waving the checkered flag to suggest that almost 93% of this community will have a vaccine in their body, and 95% effective here in the next couple of weeks. So we're on the last lap of this vaccine distribution. A little bit about our evolving preparedness plan. So we had a little bit of an outbreak in housekeeping in the beginning of January, which we're cycling out of now. In the middle of January, we started to experience an outbreak in health services, and we see a brighter light of us cycling through that outbreak. And then towards the second and third week in January, we started to experience a little outbreak in dining services. And we're starting to see us cycling out of that outbreak as well. I just want to caution everybody that the following is our guidance in order to go back to another normal plan. So in dining services, we shut down the restaurants and we went to an all takeout. One of the biggest questions that Renee and I are still fielding in administration is, can we open the restaurants, Michael? Let's go back to normal. And that's a little difficult right now. We can't do that. The reason is, when we have an outbreak in a particular area, we conduct weekly testing in any resident or team member that lives or works in that area. And that's what we're doing in dining services right now. We're conducting a weekly test. That weekly test, we have to produce a 14-day free positivity period before we can go back to what we had before. And so on Monday of this week, we experienced a couple more positives. So that began a new clock for us of a 14-day period of time. We do see us cycling downward with the number of positives. So let's all just pray every day for the next 12 days and send positive energy to the dining services department. A, because they're doing a great job of keeping up with takeout delivery and all the cross-training that is happening in that department. Let's continue to send positive energy their way. And secondly, let's send positive energy and pray that we have no more positives, so that in 12 weeks we can cycle off of this outbreak and open back up the restaurants, meaning Prima, Pub 2300, and Cedar Grill. If anyone has any questions about our evolving preparedness plan, please feel free to call down to the administration suite, and I or the dining services management will walk you through what our plans are. Okay, next up is Mary Catherine and Ann Hopper. We've invited Dispatch Health here to talk a little bit about how Dispatch Health complements the wellness clinic for independent living, assisted living, the health center, and or memory support. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Catherine and Ann Hopper, and we have about a 10-15 minute presentation about how valuable it is to be partnered with Dispatch Health.
Michael is taller than me, so I have to lower the mic quite a bit. So, hi, I am Mary Catherine with Dispatch Health, and I appreciate Michael and Cedarfield and Ann having me out just to talk a little bit about what Dispatch is and what Dispatch is not. So I'm going to start kind of upside down. I'm going to talk about what we're not. We are not a replacement for any of the wonderful services that are available here at Cedarfield, especially what the clinic already has to offer and the wonderful healthcare staff have here. We are not a replacement, as Michael so aptly said. We are a complement to the services that you already receive here at Cedarfield. We are an extension to the good care that you receive from all the wonderful folks here at Cedarfield. As Ann and I were just talking, we are all on the same team. All of the leadership here, all of the care you receive, and Dispatch Health, same team, which is team, don't go to the hospital unless you have to. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We are not a replacement for your primary care or regular visits, regular physicals or scheduled appointments or your specialist. And we are not anything where you need immediate care. I'll talk a little bit about how fast dispatch can get here, but we are not for heart attack, stroke, uncontrolled bleeding, or fall and hit the head. You all have your pull cords in your room, and you need to use them if you need immediate service. So I don't know if Ann wants to add to any of that. Is that all correct? It's good so far. So let's talk a little bit about what dispatch is and how we do work with healthcare and the clinic. Ann and I have been working together for over 2 years now. Dispatch has been in Richmond for 3 years. So what dispatch is mobile acute care. We bring a team with a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant plus a med tech in a car full of all sorts of equipment that will come to your apartment or your cottage to take care of you. We are a good option instead of getting dressed, getting yourself together, and going to a freestanding urgent care. And in Richmond, we have, I think, Better Med and Patient First, and I know I'm forgetting another one, but those freestanding urgent cares. Or Dispatch Health is another option if you are unable to get to your primary care doctor and you aren't feeling well and you need care in an urgent manner. We are definitely an option instead of going to the emergency room for non-emergent items. And I'm going to talk about what we can take care of. But we're just an option instead of leaving campus when you don't have an emergency item that needs to be taken care of. And the clinic is closed. And in her clinic are always I would say, one of the first options if you're not feeling well. But we are a complement to her services because we are open longer and more days than the clinic is. So we are open, Dispatch Health is available, I should say, every day, holidays, weekends, as I like to say, any word that ends in day, we are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we have 8 teams in the community that can come and provide you services right in your residence here at Cedarfield. I'm going to pause. Anything you want to add to that? You'll add after? Okay, great. Wonderful. So here are some things that we do treat in the comfort of your home. We can treat anything with ear, nose, and throat, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. We can test if you think you have a urinary tract infection. We can do all that in your apartment. We can take care of cuts. If you feel like you might need stitches, we can do that. We can also administer IV fluids if you're dehydrated, or even first dose of medication if need be. Generally, if you just don't feel well, but you're not sure why, and again, the clinic is not available, and you aren't able to go to your own primary care, we can just come, do an assessment, and figure out what's going wrong with you. We can write prescriptions, and we can also write orders for x-rays if we feel that you need any sort of ultrasound or x-ray. I want to tell you what happens when you call us for service. You will be talking to one of our care team members that is going to talk to you about what is going on with you, what you're feeling. We do ask a lot of questions. I know sometimes that can be bothersome, but the reason we are asking so many questions is we want to make sure that Dispatch Health is the next best option for you and what's going on with you. Some things that might be going wrong with you are too complex for our services, and we might suggest you need to go to the emergency room. Or if you need care faster than we can get here, we might say you need another option like an emergency room. But if we can come and take care of you with the equipment and services we have in a timely manner based on what's going on with you, we will set up a time and we will come out and see you. A lot of people also ask, how much does this cost, right? That's a very good question. We are no more expensive than if you went to one of those freestanding emergency rooms, like a Patient First or a Better Med. We are the exact same price. So we are not expensive. We are very affordable, and we are very much less expensive than if you go to an emergency room. So those are my high-level overview of what dispatch is and what we aren't. And I know that Renee will tell me if any questions have come across that I need to answer, but I'm going to let Ann speak for a moment. Wonderful question. Ann Juanvino, thank you for reminding me about billing. We will bill all of your insurances prior to sending you any bill for the remainder. And in most instances, since we take all of Medicare and the Medicare supplements or Advantage plans you might have, you probably won't even see a bill from us. But when you talk to my care team, when you call in requesting care, we will go over that insurance information with you. So make sure you have your insurance information when you do call us. We want to give you an accurate estimate of any copay you might have, but most likely with the folks that are here and Medicare, you probably will not. It's a great prompt from Ann. All right, Ann, who's going to chat?
Hello. Okay, so I have gone over Dispatch Health with a lot of new residents when they come into the clinic to visit. We've had a lot of the magnets. I don't know if you have magnets anymore, but the little round magnets with cars, I would give out with this handout that they have. And what's great about it is it goes over everything from every body system. But this can be confusing. Who do I call? Do I call my doctor? Do I call the clinic? Do I call Dispatch Health? Certainly when I'm here 8 to 4, like Mary Catherine said, you can start with the clinic and we can go from there. Do you have a doctor that's on site here that I can get in touch with? We can go that route. But not all of our doctors are here all day, all week long. So sometimes we will reach out to Dispatch Health even during the day, during the week. Say if someone has that nasty GI bug and they just feel like they want to die, they don't want to go to the ER, they're pretty weak, we've called Dispatch Health and they will give you a range of when they can come. I've had one resident 3 to 5 hours and she said, you know what, I don't want to go to the ER, I'll wait in my bed. We checked on her and Dispatch Health came and they could tell she was dehydrated. They hung fluids, they stay while they are hanging the bag of fluids right there in her bedroom. And she couldn't be happier because she didn't have to leave and she got over that stomach bug. And then the other thing that I say to residents is if you feel like when the clinic closes from 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening till the next morning, if there's something that's going on that you can't wait till the next day to talk to your doctor and you need to be seen, don't wait. The supervisor, or when I'm there, we get your vial of life and we call, and like Mary Catherine said, they will triage over the phone. They want to make sure they're sending out the clinician for your right problem. They have about 5 or 6 suitcases, and based on what your need is, they're going to come rolling through with the suitcases to help you. So we have the supervisor can call. I tell the residents, if you have your vial of life, you can call too. Sometimes it is confusing when you don't feel well. You don't want to spend all that time on the phone answering what you feel like are not necessary questions. So that's where a supervisor or myself or a nurse in the clinic can help you with that call. And the other great time is the weekend. When you have your primary care doctor out on the community and that on-call doctor gets you, they don't know you, they're gonna say, go to the ER, because they wanna make sure you're covered in case something's wrong. This is a good option because they're open on the weekends. So while it might seem confusing, who do I use? We certainly can help you here at Cedarfield. Like Mary Catherine said, if there's an emergency, pull your cord. The supervisor, there's always a nurse supervisor available at Cedarfield.
Wonderful, Anne, that is terrific. We do communicate, I should say, with your primary care doctor, your specialist, your home health, and if you're in healthcare, we're going to communicate with that team too. Everybody's going to know what we did with you while we were with you. We are also going to print out discharge instructions to give you right in your apartment. We have a printer with us as well, and we're going to print those right out at the bedside. Again, we are just a part, I say this all the time, a tool in Cedarfield's toolbox to help keep you safe and sound right here on campus, because that's where you want to stay. No one wants to go out when they don't have to. You especially don't want to go to a hospital, whether we're in a pandemic or not. You want to find services that'll help you right here. Cedarfield has them, and we're a part of those services that are just going to keep you healthy and safe right here at Cedarfield. Wonderful question. I was going to ask you, do you all have a test for COVID here? Okay, so
Repeat the question.
So the question is, do we treat COVID, does Dispatch Health treat COVID positive folks, or do we test for COVID? And the answer is yes for both of those. My team is fully prepared with PPE, everything they need to be safe when they're seeing you, as well as when they see another patient. We can also test for COVID. Our COVID test is not a rapid. We are a 3 to 5 day COVID test turnaround, but we can test for COVID, absolutely.
And then the other thing, we have these flyers and the magnets that we can send out to the residents.
I have some, yes. So the question is, do I have more flyers and magnets? And the answer is yes. I have more flyers and magnets that I will make sure Anne has that residents can get. But yes, the magnet has our phone number and our website address, and the flyer has all of our detailed information about what we treat, and I'll make sure that Cedarfield is armed with both of those. All right, thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary Catherine. Next is a presentation from Jean to talk a little bit about the Angel Fund.
Thanks, Michael. This is February, and February is Angel Fund Drive Month. We did not get to have a town hall meeting because of the COVID this year, and so I needed a time that I could come to you and just tell you a couple things that you may not be aware of about our Angel Fund. Anybody in the Cedarfield community, resident, team member, construction worker, contract worker, can apply for help if they come into a situation that finances are tough. And so many people have been in that situation with the COVID. The Angel Fund is there to help, but we will need funds to help people. Last year we helped 24 people, and they were very grateful that we did that. If a person has a problem, quite often the leader of their department will go to the pastoral team and let them know what the problem is, what they need finances for. And then from there, we have an Angel Fund committee meeting, and the committee makes all the decisions with the pastoral services chairman that is there with us. Now, I hope all of you are aware that we've been looked after here with the COVID and our shots. So dig deep and help us raise money that we can use to help all these people that might come into term needing of funds. It is a totally Cedarfield fund, and the money will not be given to an individual. Wherever the money is needed, James Green will send that money to that location. So we said last year, give till it feels good, and I hope you all find time to fill out your form, the Angel Fund form. You don't have to fill it out, you can just write a check to Cedarfield Angel Fund, drop it in one of the boxes. There's one on the concierge desk, there's one in the business office, and there's one in assisted living. So keep the Angel Fund in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Just a couple of frequently asked questions that came in here in the last couple of minutes. We'll go through these questions before we have some good news from Margaret in Pastoral Services. First, some of the comments have come across where the audio is not as it has been in the more recent live chats. We are testing out some new technology, so thank you for the feedback. We are aware of some of these audio issues, and we intend to iron them out before the next live chat on Friday. Next question came in. Looking ahead, after the staff and the residents are 95% protected, what are the plans regarding new team members and new residents and their vaccination? That's a great question, and one that I am not prepared to answer quite just yet. We don't have an answer from either Walgreens, CVS, Virginia Department of Health about what is the availability of extra vaccines for us to distribute on our own and or through a provider after we get through this first round. This question is on the top of our list of things to work through with the Virginia Department of Health. Next question, of the positive cases that we've had here in the last 2 weeks, both residents and team members, have any of them received their first dose of the vaccine? The answer to that is yes. There are residents and team members who have been COVID-19 positive in the last 2 weeks that did receive their first dose. I would just caution everyone that the vaccine does not cause COVID-19 to exacerbate in our bodies. Most likely, people who have caught this virus here, unfortunately, in the last couple of weeks, and also received the first dose of the vaccine, remember, their bodies are probably only 15, 20% protected at that point. No one at this campus is 95% protected. And so the chances of someone getting sick were 80, 85% because all of us are still just receiving our vaccine and our bodies are producing an immune response system accordingly to fight the virus. So, one more question has come in. Thank you, Vanna White. Next question is, would it be good to publish a sheet that tells us who to call for a health concern or emergency during various days and times of the week? That would be great. I think that's a great suggestion. A little cheat sheet of some sort would be great to maybe have in everyone's accommodation of know who to call maybe on our next live chat here on Friday, we can talk a little bit more about this suggestion and a brief summary of how to contact somebody in the event of an emergency and go through that little protocol. Great. Any other questions? No other questions? Thank you for listening to this COVID-19 update and vaccine distribution information. Thank you, Jean, for coming to give a little commercial about the Angel Fund, a really critical fund here for many, many years. And thank you, Mary Catherine, for helping us discern a little bit more about the difference between Dispatch Health and our own wellness clinic. Next up is Margaret with a little good news and some spiritual well-being. And if I don't see you throughout the rest of the day or tomorrow, I will be here at a live chat on 3 o'clock on Friday. If you are a team member listening, I will see you tomorrow with our next clinic. Very, very exciting. Margaret?
Thank you, Michael. I haven't been here for this live stream since the beginning of the year, so this is a new year for me. It's a new year for all of us, and in this particular year, we've also have a new beginning in the fact that we have a vaccine. So it's been an especially good start to the year with positive things to look forward to. With all of that in mind, I would like to share a poem that I found entitled New Beginnings. It's by Helen Steiner Rice, and it goes like this. How often we wish for another chance to have a fresh beginning, a chance to blot out mistakes and change failure into winning. It does not take a new year to make a brand new start. It only takes the deep desire to try with all your heart, to live a little better and to always be forgiving, to add a little sunshine to the world in which we are living. So never give up in despair and think that you're through, for there's always a tomorrow and a chance to start anew.